What up, what up, what up?
What up?
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world and whenever you are tuning into this video. My name is James Porcelli.
I'm Brian Thomas.
And welcome to another edition of the Ruthless Talk Podcast.
Heyo!
Heyo! Yes. There's a lot to get into as we got SmackDown for tonight. We're going to mention a little bit about AEW, not AEW Dynasty. We're going to leave that alone as of this recording. AEW Dynasty is going on as of right now. So we will talk about Dynasty along with Monday Night Raw. We'll talk about Monday Night Raw for this coming week as well. So stay tuned for the next following episode when we talk both of those shows combined. We'll do some takeaways from AEW Dynasty and, of course, takeaways from Monday Night Raw, which is tomorrow night live on Netflix. So, but yes, there's a lot to go over. If you saw SmackDown, there was a lot to marinate and a lot to soak in. Involving a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Brian, I know you got some words to say. As if you guys know, I made an upload and a post about a certain segment from SmackDown. We're going to get into all of it as we are now 2 weeks away, guys. Now 2 official weeks away from WrestleMania. We got so much stuff to talk about. We got the roundtable coming up, not in just legit less than a week now. This coming Saturday, we will be recording that roundtable event for you guys as we got a bunch of content creators that is going to be joining the show. Let us start off with some AEW. Again, this is mainly some stuff. I guess you could say it's a little bit of a preview since, again, we are not watching AEW Dynasty. We don't know what's going on with AEW Dynasty as of right now. But, Brian, I'll kind of send this off to you to start off as, you know, I know you have some words that you want to talk about in regards to Swerve and with Mox as well as Tony Storm. But, yeah, the floor is yours, man. At least some takeaways from AEW Dynamite this week or just AEW in general, man. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I got to start with like the whole Mox and Swerve and Marina and Willow. Man, so, you know, obviously I don't know whatever's going to happen is happening, you know, maybe as we speak or here in the next hour or so. And also Hangman now, you know, he's kind of always been hanging around anyway. So I guess let me start there, man. I mean, Hangman coming for the save tonight. I mean, can we kind of almost book that, you know? I mean, I guess, you know, I'll take that over like hit Hangman and Swerve going back at it again for some reason right now. You know, if you saw the little interaction with Swerve and Hangman on Dynamite where, you know, shit, what did Hangman say? I can't even remember what he said now.
So there was an interaction backstage to where he's like they're screaming at one another like I made a promise that you were never going to get near that world championship again.
Yeah.
And Hangman was like, you broke into my home, and Swerve is like, you burned my house, and Hangman's like, you deserved it, and Swerve is like, I know, and they had like this intimate moment where they just stared at one another, and then
Hangman storms off.
Yeah.
So you know, like I had mentioned, you know, this, you know, feud or, you know, how it's going to get into there with Mox and the Death Riders. And I'd mentioned, you know, Swerve's got to have somebody, you know, at Willow we see for Marina. Hangman, I guess it's going to be Hangman, at least one person. You know, I can see them, you know, I see where they're going. I mean, you know, this, you know, a bitter rivalry, you know, bitter feud. And then something brings them together. We've seen this, you know, play out many times in wrestling. And I guess I'm willing to at least give that a shot rather than where kind of I thought they were going to go. And eventually probably still won't go again if they're both going to be fighting for the world title. But at least for right now, if it's like some kind of, you know, partnership with Hangman and Swerve and Willow and, you know, maybe somebody else, cool, you know, let's see where this goes.
Right.
And then for the segment, how it ended with Swerve, you know, kind of, you know, it was a little bit, you know, Undertaker-esque with a, you know, kind of hulking up a little bit, just the intensity, you know. So yeah, I kind of liked it. And, you know, you see Mox looking back like, fuck, and I say all that to
Yeah.
say where I'm still, tonight, right now, like I don't think Swerve should win tonight. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I think Mox
Yeah.
should still walk out the champion. And again, if you're inserting Hangman here as maybe an ally, and you got Willow as an ally, you got to build that story a little bit more before you just throw the title on Hangman, or the story's over already. So
Yeah,
that's kind of
exactly.
where I am with that. And even I touched on this too with Marina. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed where I mean they've already thrown her right in there with Willow, right off the bat, where I think it would have benefited her well to have a few squash matches before, her and Willow come into blows, even though it was a tag, it wasn't one-on-one, but
Yeah.
and even still, I think she looked good, and it was a decent match, and no complaints there. But again, if you're just starting the story and you're already getting to the payoff, then where are we going?
Right. Right.
So yeah, those are my only thoughts really about that. And then of course we got Tony Storm and Megan Bayne tonight. She picked up the victory over Penelope, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but Megan Bayne, did she lay Tony Storm out again, or was it just a stare down? Because I really can't remember how that ended. But even with that match, man, so I don't know how that's going to go tonight. I mean, I would assume Tony Storm's going to win here, but like we've both been kind of saying, we don't know much about Megan Bayne.
Yeah.
But shit, what's to stop them from doing the same thing they did, other than should you do it twice in a row with two people? With when we talk about Mariah May, she got the victory, over Tony Storm, and everybody was kind of like, what, who's this person? And
Yeah.
now we see where Mariah May is. So, do they do that with Megan Bayne? I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. And yes, Megan Bayne was out there. She came out to confront Tony Storm in the ring, and they had this, I guess you can say, confrontation or face off, as commentary was there to settle. So yes, Megan Bayne did come out after the matchup, and I guess had a face off, and that was the big selling point, I guess, was those two in the ring, I guess, are confronting one another. So that was pretty much what happened there. But so yeah, I mean, for me, just to kind of go back to Swerve and Mox real quick, I really liked actually how that was structured out. And I'm going to say something similar about SmackDown once we get to the SmackDown show later on. But I always love, Brian, to when you take a certain story, a segment, or whatever it is, you take something and you progress that throughout the night to where you're giving people a reason to tune in for 2+ hours. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just like the weird same old format of match, promo, backstage promo, match. And then like you get to the end of the show and it just feels like a drag, right? And that's not just WWE. It's AEW. It's both of them are a culprit in that sort of structure. But you take Mox and Swerve, Mox takes out Willow Nightingale, which was a mixed tag to start off the show. Mox DDT's Willow Nightingale, then she had to be sent to the back with medical personnel and officials, and then Swerve and Prince Nana are checking up on her in the medical room, and then Swerve is like, listen, I'm going to get my hands on you, Mox, not at Dynasty, not next week, whatever. I'm talking about tonight. So now you build up this anticipation to where Swerve is like going up and down backstage trying to find Moxley. So that's what's cool about a wrestling show. Not only are you giving people suspense of what's going to happen, but you're giving people a reason to care about a feud that's between Mox and Swerve. To where, let's be honest, even though, again, I still don't know the reason why we put such a detriment on Mox and this Death Riders faction. It makes no fucking sense. But I will agree with most people. I mean, the whole Cope and Mox storyline, it wasn't as great as we all thought it was going to be. But when you take something like this, man, it works. It worked because you're allowing your fans to stick around for 2+ hours. So I do really like that. And I do like the end of the show to where, listen, I get it. the whole thing, I mean, listen, it's Swerve Strickland, right? So I can see where people are like, oh, it's broken glass, and he just no-sells it and sits up. I mean, I understand it. But if you do go back at Swerve's track record, he tends to have this, I guess, this diabolical mean streak, right? To where he can tolerate some pain. So I guess you could say if there was any person
Did you see the feud with Hangman last year? I mean,
right?
on,
yeah, I mean, exactly. So I mean, if anybody was going to do that, it was going to be Swerve. I didn't think the camera work wasn't that great though. To where like when he was sitting up, I thought you could have produced that a lot better. Him sitting up and the camera work could have been done better. But I mean, for an ending to the show, man, to try to pump up a pay-per-view matchup, I truly did not mind this at all. I mean, I love when shows are produced like that, and I wish AEW would do a lot more of that, you know, with Jon Moxley in the World Championship. You know, he's taking out freaking Swerve. He's doing this massive beatdown, even with Hangman and Swerve. Now, I haven't really given this any thought, honestly. I mean, we've talked about it in the past with Swerve and Hangman. It's just like, all right, it's kind of like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at this point. So we're like, they'll always find a way to just intertwine with one another in a fucking segment. You know what I'm saying? So now they're just going to be, now all of a sudden, like not too long ago, when was that cage match, Brian? I think it was at AW All Out not too long ago, to where they fought in a cage.
I couldn't tell you, but
it was not too long ago. It was had to be a couple months ago. So that's what I'm saying. Like already now, so now Swerve is going to team up with Hangman with not shortly before, a few months ago, before Hangman burned down Swerve Strickland's home. They did all this dastardly crazy shit. And now just a couple more months later, now they're just going to be buddies and they're going to team up against the Death Riders. I don't know, man. I just don't know. Unless they find a way to make it make sense. I just don't understand it, man. This is what I mean sometimes, to where like, if you're going to involve Swerve and Hangman together, like you gotta let that shit breathe, man. I get it. They have great chemistry. They're a really good rivalry outside of Tony Storm and Mariah May. For the men, it's been Swerve and Hangman Adam Page.
That last year, that was fucking awesome.
It was really, really good.
Best shit Hangman's done in AW. Yeah.
Absolutely. But we also have to find a way to just let shit breathe a little bit, you know, in regards to when these people, you know, come to blows once again in the near future. You know, it's just like, I can't really believe that after doing the most dastardly things to one another, which was breaking into somebody's home and being above somebody's child's crib, and as well as burning down somebody's childhood home, breaking into their fucking home and burning that shit. Now now you want me to believe that now bygones are just bygones. Yeah. And we're just going to do this buddy interaction now with come on, man. And who knows?
And I'll add to that. Like, if that is the route they're going, like Swerve can't win here. Like, you know, like again, even with that, if Swerve wins here, then what? I mean, Hangman's going right after Swerve because he's now the champion. Like, there's not going to be any of this. Yeah. You know, fucking. Oh, you know, I'm sorry. You know, we got you. Whatever. You know. So
yeah, exactly.
They gotta tell that story between them, and also with those two dudes. Like, it can't be like some over sappy shit. You know,
that's what I'm
it's got to be done really well, man. So
absolutely.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's got to be done flawlessly for you to do this right. Now, who knows, Brian? Would you? And I listen. I would never book this at all, but I don't know why. But I can see them doing this to where they can make this into a triple threat in the near future. It's where you have Mox, Swerve, and Hangman. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not saying
garbage.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree. Because now, guys, we're going into the route to where we've said this about WWE a million times, to where you're taking pretty much two separate feuds, which is Swerve and Mox and Swerve and Hangman, and you're throwing everybody in one triple threat. Now, granted, is there something on the line to fight for? Yes. You know, right? There's a title that would be on the line. So that would be the only thing to have something that does make sense, which is a title match. But I don't know,
If,
man. I mean,
if all this is leading to a triple threat, oh god, yeah, shit the bed on that, man.
yeah, that's what I mean, man. I get
Yeah,
it. There would be something on the line, and there would be something to fight for. So at least it wouldn't be so fucking random, unlike another triple threat over in WWE right now. And we'll get
yeah.
to that actually. And then again, we'll speak about that in the main event topic for SmackDown. But so yeah, man. And as far as the rest of AEW Dynamite again, so unfortunately, I mean, for me, the last several weeks, I haven't been able to watch Dynamite live. I did see Toni Storm in her match with Penelope Ford as she won that, and she's face to face with Megan Bayne. You've got this MJF and Bobby Lashley stuff that's going on.
Yeah, so it
Which
looks
kind
like, I
of,
mean, he's going to be part of the Hurt Syndicate. I mean, that's going to happen.
I
Yeah,
guess so, unless it's going to be like a short transitional type of story to where maybe MJF is not going to be there for very long at all. And I don't know, Brian, what do you think about this? And I don't know, this just came off the top of my head. And again, this is just straight out of left field with a hockey stick. The FTR, right? So where FTR is kind of butting heads right now, and it would be really fucking stupid to just straight up split them up, because I'm sorry, guys, as much as we like Dax and Cash, how much are they going to evolve as superstars, as wrestlers, as singles competitors? It's like Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso. I get it. Jey Uso is doing his thing with WWE, but let's face it, the wrestling and everything else outside of the shtick is just not connecting with people. Neither is with Jimmy. So when now you do this with Dax and Cash, and I'm thinking, like, are they really going to thrive now as singles competitors than they would be as a tag team, which is arguably, Brian, and you've mentioned it, like one of the best tag teams. I know one of your favorite tag teams lately in pro wrestling today. So, but here's the thing though, instead of obviously doing the split, which is what I guess they want us to believe, I mentioned about both of them turning heel on Cope. And then how about to where MJF rejoins with FTR? I think they were involved in a faction called the what was it called?
Pinnacle.
Pinnacle. Yes, Pinnacle.
Yeah,
with Wardlow and
freaking Wardlow. Wardlow was in there.
Wardlow, and I think Sean Spears, was in there when he was still in AEW at the time. So, I mean, what are your quick thoughts about that, man? So because again, and here's what's weird about this, right? And I'll get to your thoughts in just a second. Like, because is Hurt Syndicate supposed to be face now, I guess? I don't know what the connection of what they're trying to accomplish to where they're trying to go a face Hurt Syndicate route. It seems like, because they're more face right now, because now they're going up against the Learning Tree, which is Big Bill and Keith. So they're pretty much faces. I mean, the crowd comes out and chants their theme, "We hurt people," right, when they come out. So it seems like their mannerisms are now more face, which is weird because they haven't really been yet truly established as a dominant heel faction. I don't know, man. Unless you're also trying for a reason for somebody, or having a reason for having Mox and the Death Riders have something when Moxley loses the world championship in the near future, maybe, to where you got the Hurt Syndicate and the Death Riders again. I don't know. This is just straight up coming off the top of my head. But what do you think, Brian, in regards to that?
Man, I'd really have to think about FTR, I guess. But just with the Hurt Syndicate and MJF specifically, like, again, it's also weird in this way, like as you mentioned, where Hurt Syndicate is, I mean, they're getting sort of a face reaction.
Yeah.
You obviously wanted to turn MJF back heel, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those storylines where, like, man, they're going to have to really play their cards right, or it's just nothing's really going to click. Because, again, are we turning MJF back face after, I mean, what's that in the last year? He's kind of year and a half. He's turned 3 or 4 times. The Hurt Syndicate should be a heel tag team. And are you going to turn them face soon? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I guess we'll know more about it, because again, it would be so.
But I would actually like. I mean, I guess if there's a way, Yeah, maybe something like, maybe it doesn't work out with the Hurt Syndicate, and then it's, it's just FTR and MJF, and then Hurt Syndicate. I mean, you couldn't put Cope there. It couldn't be Cope, but Hurt Syndicate and somebody else maybe joining them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because let's be honest too, right? I mean, listen, we talk about this tag division, and clearly they're not putting any effort or any type of creativity in the tag division. It's all been really about these trios titles. So if you would think in regards to AEW's booking as of late, in regards to somebody, 3 people pairing up and also having history to where, again, turning or having FTR split would make absolutely no sense. It just, I'm sorry,
I'd hate it. Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
It would be really fucking stupid. They're not going to benefit anymore as singles competitors.
And give me another a heel FTR run, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well kind of like just, again, have them turn on Cope to where you can start something with Cope more as a face. Because again, I don't see Cope in the near future winning that world championship just because of his age and how much he has left. So if you're going to start something with Cope to where you can have, and you can also start MJF and Cope. How badass would that freaking be? I mean, because MJF guys needs something. Because listen, I like MJF a lot, but let's face it. Ever since MJF, and we've talked about this, Brian, for months after that Adam Cole feud, this whole entire transition of MJF as a heel has been, it just hasn't clicked because they try to turn him face. People were wanting a face turn, and all of a sudden they had to call an audible and switch him back over to a heel because let's face it, he's a better heel than 90% of that roster that could pull off. So if you're going to continue an MJF heel persona, and you're going to still involve Cope in some badass storylines, why not with fucking MJF, dude? I mean, talk about MJF and Cope. I mean, now that, we're not talking like freaking Jeff Jarrett at this point now. And that's no shade to Jeff Jarrett, but we're talking about a dude that's obviously out of his prime, but people that a dude is an actual glorified star. Again, that's no shade to Jeff Jarrett because we mentioned about him in the past, but this is freaking Edge, Adam Copeland, and you're going up against, freaking MJF, and now you have FTR to where you, again, who knows how they book it to where they do turn on Cope, not just, Dax, who already has a little bit of friction and animosity with Cope, and now it's going to be Cash that turns on him as well. If you can kind of, I guess, blur the lines over everybody, I guess, if you want to call it.
And then maybe you could also start that reconnection with Christian.
Yeah, absolutely. With Christian maybe to where you can do FTR against Edge and Christian. That would be pretty if you book it properly, honestly, because the thing is,
like, I got it before Edge and Christian, right off into the sunset. Absolutely, I got to see that Edge and Christian against FTR.
I have a feeling that is going to happen at some point. I think before Edge retires, I feel like in regards to what Edge wants to do before
they're definitely getting back together.
They're going to get back into a tag team. However, they're going to do it, and I'm sure to where, and hopefully Edge and Christian are gained more of creative control. I mean, not all creative control, but most of creative control in regards to what direction needs to be going into. They're going to tag together at some point, both Christian and Edge at some point. But as far as MJF is concerned, for some, I mean, because I don't, with this whole Hurt Syndicate thing, to where the only thing that you can do to rectify, maybe not rectify, but things to make a little bit more sense, to make Hurt Syndicate, I guess, more faces, if that's the direction they're going in, have FTR and MJF go up again or team up once again and do like a type of trios type of faction to where, I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you, that does sound pretty freaking cool. It looks the part. For some odd reason, they kind of broke it up. It was kind of really weird to where everybody, I thought, in the Pinnacle was really well established. So
that was, especially early on, that was a really good faction, man. It really was.
So I would love for them, and I get it. Who knows? I mean, some people think like, if it didn't work the first time, would it work the second time? But listen, if this is something that I think is worth looking into, to where you got to give MJF something if he's not going after that world championship, which I don't think it's going to be anytime soon in the near future. I think it's going to be with Swerve, and then potentially again with maybe Hangman in the future. and I guess maybe who freaking knows, right? I mean, Mox maybe will get his rematch again in the near future with the Death Riders, right? So if that's the case, man, like, why don't we come up with some stuff for MJF instead of making MJF feel like he's just there? Because that's just what it feels like every week on the shows, at least when I am able to watch the show, and when he's in these segments with Hurt Syndicate and with MVP, they don't accomplish anything. It's like they say a few words. Bobby Lashley's like, I don't trust you. I don't like you. I don't trust this guy. And then MJF just walks off, and then you intertwine Keith and Big Bill. Like, what are we? It's just, it's, I don't know. It's just, it's not accomplishing what it needs to. It's kind of odd.
No, I feel that. Yeah.
I don't know. So again, those are just, again, ideas, guys, off the top of our heads in regards to that whole situation. And I'm sure we'll know more after this, after Dynasty is over. I mean, who knows? I mean, if you got Cope FTR, rated FTR against the Death Riders, does FTR turn on Cope tonight? And then maybe you can get closer to that type of scenario. Who freaking knows? I think that would be a cool way to break a massive headline, is to do a heel FTR, and then having them turn on Cope, and you can have Cope reunite with Christian. You got to make that make sense, though, because Christian has been doing really good shit lately. And again, he's another guy that also needs, I mean, he's been doing stuff with Nick Wayne. Again, I haven't really been able to follow much of that. Again, I'm not going to be a hypocrite in saying I know what's going on with that whole Nick Wayne and Christian situation, as he tried to cash in his contract. I think that was at the last pay-per-view, and it was unsuccessful, making that matchup with Cope and Mox a triple threat. So I don't know, man. I mean, we'll see how this all plays out. But look, man, I mean, listen, AEW is in the same boat as WWE right now, to where there's a lot of things that have potential, like we always say. And then there's things to where it feels like a massive drag and it's not going anywhere. Let's put Brian again. Let's just point the finger at Jon Moxley, because he's the world champion. And apparently, again, just because the storyline, again, is not being booked properly. And trust me, I'm not going to argue that with anybody. But no, let's just keep pointing the finger at the gimmick itself, and that it's not working. And we need to get rid of the title off of Moxley for Dynasty, which could happen, by the way. That you could see Swerve Strickland win this title tonight. Yeah. And again, we'll talk about it. So, and those are our thoughts, man, about AEW. Again, we'll talk about AEW Dynasty for this coming Wednesday or Thursday, when our weekly episode drops out, along with Monday Night Raw. So before we get to SmackDown, I'll make this quick. NXT, again, I'm sure maybe there's some of you that were able to watch NXT. You had Stephanie Vacure, and you have Jada Parker, and you have Jordan Grace in this, I guess, in this type of triangle for the women's championship, as Stephanie Vacure had to relinquish the North American Championship, the Women's North American Championship. And I guess now there's going to be a fight for that championship. Now that title is out of reach, I guess they'll probably do some fucking tournament. I don't know. I mean, hopefully, I don't know. Shawn Michaels, please, man, look, if you got full control of NXT that we all think that you have, please don't do some lazy fucking bullshit, please. That's just all I hope for. To where, and I get why they had to do that, I guess, because of Julia and her injury, because obviously, it was reported that she's hurt and she's going to be out for a while. So they had to take the title off of her in a way to where you put the spotlight more on Stephanie Vacure, and you have her relinquish it to where it makes Stephanie Vacure looks more dominant. So you got that stuff going on, right? You got Trick and Javon Evans. Javon Evans had a really good segment with Trick Williams, to where Trick Williams, like, what do you know about selling tickets? What do you know about being in the main event, being in the title picture? You don't know anything. It's kind of the similar type of promo that Carmelo Hayes cut when he was also feuding with Trick Williams. As Javon Evans said in that quote, he says, bro, it's like, you're just Carmelo Hayes. He name drops Carmelo Hayes because that's pretty much the same type of shtick that Trick Williams is pretty much doing. So I thought Javon Evans did a really, really good job. Javon Evans is slowly starting to, again, I'm not there yet with the kid. Again, shout out to him. But he's slowly starting to find his groove a little bit. And I've said it before, in the near future, I think he could be a favorite candidate to win that NXT championship in the near future. And, he's still young, so I don't want to try to rush his progress or to rush his journey along to get to that step. But he's doing a lot more better. He's doing a lot better work, and he's being in segments that mean a lot more than he was doing before. Before he was trying to get his feet wet, kind of showcasing his in-ring style, being in matches with Randy Orton and kind of putting him on the map not too long ago. And now you're seeing him in feuds now with people like, Ethan Page now. And now you're seeing him in these shticks with Trick Williams. So I like that. I don't like Obafemi and Trick, all of them just thrown together, though. It's kind of all over the place and kind of clunky, but at least there's a title to fight for. But I do want to get to this, man, as I know I spoke a little bit too much about NXT, but I do want to get to this specific segment. And Brian, I plan on sending you this clip because, guys, this was absolutely one of the best segments that I've watched, at least in this year, to where Tony D, my man, shout out to Tony D. And the family, you got Stacks, and this was such a good segment to where they're all set up it was like a vignette type of a segment, and they're all in this round table circle, and they're all going through certain file folders of members of Dark State. All four of these individuals, you have their biography. It talks about, their athletic background and what college they came from, how they're Division I athletes. One of them declined an offer from fucking Harvard, right? So they're also freaking smart too. They got really good IQ. Guys, this was so fucking well done. I mean, why are we not seeing this shit on the fucking main roster is fucking mind-boggling. I mean, this was a great way, Brian. Again, I'll definitely send you this at least this highlight, as it's on, I'm sure, every platform right now. But this was so well done because, guys, I've mentioned about this Dark State faction. Like, the whole shtick comes across really goofy and silly, and outside of them just creating chaos for the sake of it, like, what is their mission? What is their goal? What are some things about this group that's going to make us feel a certain type of way about them? This is a great way you do that, man. It's like, hey, what do you got on this person? Stacks has a folder about one member of Dark State. You got Tony D'Angelo, who's got another freaking file folder about another member from Dark State. And again, they went to Duke University. He was an All-American at this freaking school and university. So now they're portraying these people as legit badass freaking athletes, right? And they're no joke. They're not just some schmucks coming here creating chaos for the sake of it. So it's a great way, not just also the animosity between Tony D'Angelo and Stacks too, right? So where Stacks is trying to take the wheel, right? Maybe it's best if we go in my direction because we got a plan. And Tony D's like, no. I was like, stay in your lane or whatever, speaking hypothetically. So you see the disconnection from Tony D'Angelo and Stacks, and you're also putting more of a spotlight on all of these individuals in Dark State to where they actually feel somewhat badass because of the biography that you're giving them. I think that was well done, dude. Seriously,
right on.
Like, it makes you actually want to know more and care about these people because they're all four random individuals. So this is a way that you would have to book for people who you don't know nothing about at all. Right. And it was, again, the setting, the camera work, and everything, bro, was just so freaking good, man. It was absolutely so good. Again, I made a whole video about it on TikTok and Instagram. You guys feel free to check that out if you guys want to. It's on all of our platforms right now. So I just want to give that its flowers, man, because that was just booked so freaking well done. Again, Tony D'Angelo, people don't give Tony D'Angelo enough love on NXT. Every single segment that I've seen him be a part of, man, like, it always just captivates my attention. Now, granted, again, I'm a fucking Italian, so listen, I'm a little bit biased, but listen, but everything.
The gabagoo.
Right, bro. Shout out to Tony D. Freaking love Tony D. But just everything about what he's involved in, the segments with Stacks and the family, and just everything of what he is doing, and the portions of the show are just the best parts of the show. And then when the timing's right, you put him in that ring. You have him perform the matchups at the right time. So I love the booking to an extent about Tony D'Angelo, and
Right.
Tony D'Angelo knocks it out of the park. It's like an episode of like the fucking Sopranos. If you guys know the Sopranos, you guys know what I'm talking about. You could have done this for like another 20 minutes. It actually felt, Brian, like an actual television show. To where again, yeah, like all these people, it's like, hey, what do we got with this guy? What do we got with this guy over here? In their fucking Italian accent. I fucking loved it, bro. It was just so good. So shout out to again whoever produced that. Shout out to Shawn Michaels for approving that shit. That was just so freaking good, man. Really, really good stuff. Just wanted to give that its flowers. So hopefully they can truly continue the momentum off of that segment and continue Dark State's, I guess, development in regards to making them feel a certain type of way as well to a certain audience and fan base. So, but much love again, NXT. Again, we'll talk more about NXT. They got Stand and Deliver coming up for WrestleMania weekend. So I'll try to find a way to maybe talk a little bit about NXT Stand and Deliver. It's going to be hard with WrestleMania, of course. So, but make sure you guys stay tuned for more content involving NXT. All right, now let's get into SmackDown. We're going to pull the Band-Aid off in regards to this first topic that we're going to go over. Now, I will speak about this show in its entirety towards the end of this episode for today, which a lot of you guys might be shocked on how I felt about this show as a whole, as well as this favor with Punk involving Roman, as well as with Seth Rollins, and we'll get to that end of the show. But let's start off, man, with the ladies. We're talking not Jade Cargill and Naomi. Those two are fucking killing it. We'll get to them. But no, it's involving the WWE Women's Championship. You have your champion, Tiffany Stratton, and you have Charlotte Flair. This was a face-to-face interaction. Guys, this was all over the place, man. If I had to just put it nicely, this was all over the place to where so the crowd is booing Charlotte. Chicago is just booing Charlotte out the freaking building. They're giving her the Dominic Mysterio treatment to where she's trying to speak and the crowd's not letting her. Tiffany's like, oh, cat got your tongue or whatever. Tiffany also had a lot of good lines in this segment because I do want to acknowledge that, right? She had a really good line. She mentioned, of course, Ric Flair. When it's all said and done, you'll always be secondary to your father, Ric Flair. You might be 4-3 at WrestleMania, but you're like 0-3 in another area. Pretty much her marriages. And that really got to Charlotte Flair, and you can tell that she was gotten to way before that. She was no, absolutely. But I mean, guys, it didn't take a rocket scientist to see that Charlotte Flair was flustered in this promo. I mean, Tiffany Stratton just did a really good job. If you go back and watch this segment, Tiffany Stratton was actually on it last night. But the problem, guys, was Charlotte Flair, to where she just could not hold her end of the bargain as she was trying to speak. This is what's weird, right? So where Charlotte's trying to speak out, her mouth is open. It's like freaking 8 Mile, right? It's like he opens his mouth, the words won't come out, right? But she's like, this is a great way when the crowd is booing you, start to develop some fan interaction, right? Involve the crowd. She didn't see. She's like, oh, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? And all this stuff. And it's just like, she had to stop mid promo. And she's like, you know what, Tiffany, just go on and say what you got to say. Like, just go. She said that mid promo. I mean, guys, It was bad. It was fucking bad. And then Tiffany Stratton brought up that whole 0-3 in marriages, right? Where she recently, of course, Charlotte Flair, again, much love. You never want to see anybody go through a divorce or anything like that. Charlotte has mentioned, how it's been, tough over the last several months. And again, you never want to see that with anybody, but you could see it kind of struck a nerve with Charlotte to where it came across. And a lot of people thought this was a straight shoot for how, I guess, real it felt. Like people think, oh, was it a work? Was it a shoot or whatever? But Tiffany just rolls out the freaking ring, because I'm sure she knew that she kind of struck a chord. And Charlotte Flair just tries to decide to throw a Hail Mary. And she goes like, oh, is that why Ludwig Kaiser is in my DMs? Like some type of fucking like childish, like high school type of freaking line, like trying to, I guess, throw, salt in the wound, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It was a Hail Mary for Charlotte Flair to just say something. But guys, man, and then again, this sucks because I love Tiffany, But man, this was all over the place, this fucking segment. I mean, if I had to pick a low point of the show, this was it. And again, it had nothing really to do with Tiffany Stratton. I thought Tiffany Stratton was fine. But guys, I mean, Charlotte Flair was flustered in every which way, whether it was the crowd, whether it was Tiffany herself. She was fucking flustered in this promo, and it was pretty evident. So Brian, I spoke about this already. You guys can check it out, Instagram, TikTok. I've already spoke about much about this segment. So Brian, I know you got a lot to say, so I'm going to let you have the floor. Your thoughts about this face-to-face segment with Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair.
Man, I'm gonna go in on Charlotte like I haven't before, because this was the fucking lowest I've ever seen. Like, it just was god awful from beginning to end, and oh Jesus Christ. So I mean, you can obviously tell there's something now. It's personal between them, whatever it is, something, whatever. There's something personal between them. And I'll even go back to when we were on the Holy Shit or the Holy Shh podcast, where, what was it, 2 weeks ago, when they had that, kind of split screen interview, like,
yeah,
Charlotte stepping all over Tiffany, like, on her lines, like cutting her off in the promo and shit. And like, man, I don't even know what to say about Charlotte anymore. Like, this is a woman who's, I don't know how long she's been in the WWE now, but
10 plus years about.
10 plus years.
Since 2015. So about 10 years now. Yeah, about 10 years.
So she won there. It was only been since 15.
Yeah, 2000, that's when she debuted with Sasha Banks, with
okay.
Who was it? Becky, and then Charlotte. They
Becky,
all debuted on that
yeah.
Monday Night Raw. That was in 2015. Yeah.
Okay. So 10 years, man, right? And God, I don't know what it is with her. You talk about people who are supposed to be, right, the biggest stars, the world champions, the Mount Rushmores, the best in the business, the leaders in the locker room. And if you're going to tell me you have somebody that's 10, 11, 12, 15-time world champion, then they got to check off those boxes, right? You don't just get there, And like, you can, sure, everybody, even her father, right, Ric Flair, like, did they have their faults? Were they always the greatest? Were they always the best person in the locker room, or the best person to be champion? And you could go from Ric Flair to Stone Cold to Hulk Hogan, and none of them, right? They all had their flaws in many different ways. But here's Charlotte Flair, who is now a decade-long superstar, who is a second-generation wrestler of arguably one of the greatest ever, who, yes, has a very large shoes to fill. And I don't know if it's definitely part WWE, part Charlotte Flair, who from the jump, because she is Ric Flair's daughter, and because she is athletic, and because she can wrestle and she can perform, she's not god awful. So yes, she can be a world champion. It's believable. But at some point along the way, I don't know if it's WWE or if it's entirely Charlotte Flair that is like, no, I am only being booked as the champion as 10-time, 11-time, 12-time, 13-time. Because, like, goddamn, like, have you never, like, Charlotte Flair herself, like, if it was me, like, I would have had to go into creative at some point and say, hey, none of this shit works. Like, great, I'm racking up titles, but none of this shit works. I don't know if Charlotte's ever said that, or if this is Charlotte saying, like, nope, this is where you're going to book me. I don't fucking know. But I say all that to say that Charlotte is not a leader. Like, she is not the one. Like, she has been very unprofessional, very to the talent that if you're in this position, you're 10-time world champion, right? Yeah, you got to fight for your spot, and I get all that, but you are a fucking piss poor example. Like, Jesus Christ, for a long time. And so to get to this interview or this segment, man, I'm gonna put my glasses on for this one because fuck, man. So, she starts out with like, pandering to the crowd. I can't remember if she said a catchphrase or whatever, and it was a lukewarm reaction. And then Tiffy, what time is it? Fucking, crowd explodes, right? And right off the bat, Charlotte's like, "Oh, that was cute, dude. Tiffy just blew you out the fucking water. What you mean that was cute? You want to go pander to the crowd? She's fucking killing you right now. She is fucking killing you." So right off the bat, like it didn't need to get to the end of the interview, end of the segment for her to get here. Like right from that moment, like she was offered and like could not get back on her game. And that is Charlotte Flair right now. Like, man, if it is not going her way, if it is not scripted, she is fucking shitting the bed hard. Like, there's no other way to say that, man. So then they go on, and I think Tiffany might have said something else, and then Charlotte again says something about, like, what does she say? That desperation leaks through, like talking to Tiffany. Girl, read the room, man. Like, you are the one looking so desperate, and this is not her trying to be in character. Man, if you are a wrestling fan who has watched this is not her trying to be a heel. It's not, man. She is fucking stumbling. And I don't know. It goes on from there. The crowd drowns her out, man, because we as the WWE universe, I think, have fucking had it. I think finally it's coming to the point where we fucking had it with this whole shtick.
Yeah.
Like, and it's about damn time. So you got that. Tiff even mentioned it. Your biggest competitor is them. It's us. Like that. Charlotte Flair does not need to worry about Tiffany Stratton or Nia Jax or Rhea Ripley or Bianca Belair. She can't connect with the crowd, man. I mean, it is so hard to watch. So hard to watch. We go on from there, where Tiffany mentions her, always being second to her daddy. Yeah, she will be. Huge you can't fill those shoes. Nobody could ever fill those shoes. No. And that's a shit place to be in, granted. But that's why I say, like, I don't know if it was WWE or Charlotte Flair herself or even Rick, when he was back there. Like, man, you didn't have to constantly book Charlotte Flair. She didn't have to be the 17-time world champ greatest. She didn't have to be.
No.
You have constantly booked her that way, and that's why we're here.
Yep.
She could have been a fine, and she is a fine wrestler, whatever.
She has a place.
But yeah, it's just because herself and WWE has always forced it. We go on to I don't know. There was a part where Tiffany stumbled a little bit, but I mean, Jesus Christ, like I said, like Charlotte has been god awful in these segments, man. She really has. 2 weeks ago in the video segment, this promo, even to the point where, if you notice, and I don't think this was any small thing, with Charlotte getting flustered in the ring, Wade Barrett, like, because she's getting closer to Tiffy, and Wade Barrett has to kind of step in there. That, again, that wasn't scripted. It wasn't part of trying to be a heel. That's Charlotte, like, not performing well. That's what that was, man. I don't know. So, by the time we get to the end and you get to the Kaiser and the DMs and whatever, like, bro, it just, I'm right now, and I mean this with all sincerity, like Charlotte Flair is in like the Logan Paul category with me. Like I don't care to talk about her. Like she is not offering anything. And she's like, I don't know, man. It really does seem like she intentionally tries to step on talent, man. It really fucking does. And you can see it in the promo, in the ring. Like this is not, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. There's definitely some personal shit between the two, but and this is, kudos to Tiff, or God, I keep saying, or no, it was Tiff.
Tiffany,
kudos to Tiff for, like, step up and punch her in the mouth, man.
Absolutely.
Fuck this shit. Absolutely, dude. That's pretty much all I got to say about that. Like, so who knows if storylines will get changed, but I'm still going to say, like, Charlotte's going to win this match unless, because of these interactions lately, maybe something changes, but I don't know, man. But that was fucking awful. I don't really put much, if any, of that shit on Tiff, man. That is and has been Charlotte Flair. Period.
Brian, you've been preaching the same stuff that I've been saying now about Charlotte Flair for ever since we probably have had this podcast now, to where I keep telling people for the longest time to where, listen, this woman may be a great athletic performer. She may have a place in this company to where, yes, she's had a lot of good wrestling matches. She had just recently, not too long ago, with Rhea Ripley. She's put on good performances with Io Sky and everybody. But guys, everything that Brian Thomas just said, man, about Charlotte Flair has been a fact, a straight fact for a very long time now. And I've seen through the bullshit. We've all have seen through the bullshit. And like you said too, Brian, it's so refreshing to where now everybody is just sick and tired of it, to where when she won the Royal Rumble, fans were just like, enough. This is not what we want. Nobody has asked for this at all. And it's, guys, it's clear as day, right? So where we talk about this woman, and it's so odd on how we book this woman to think, or what WWE wants us to think, that she's head above shoulders above everybody.
Yeah.
Because why?
Weird.
Because she's a blonde, because she's tall, because she's athletic, because she
and her last name's Flair.
And her last name is Flair.
Absolutely, that plays a part, and she can't escape that, and it's not her fault.
No, it's not, and it's never. Listen, like you said, for anybody in that certain role or in that certain just position, it's always going to be hard shoes to fill, right? It always will be. But guys, like, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to understand the booking that, regardless if it's Vince McMahon, right? Vince McMahon, or if it's Triple H, this has been the agenda. And I've mentioned this about Roman Reigns, to where Roman Reigns had the balls enough to go up to Vince McMahon and say, listen, I get it. I'm in the main event. I'm one of your top guys, but this shit ain't working, bro. I'm talking Joe Anoa'i, the person behind Roman Reigns. He said, like, dude, enough, man. We got to change it up. We got to switch it up. And we're going to get to Roman Reigns and, of course, the triple threat with Punk and Rollins. Roman Reigns crushed it this past Friday. I just want to get that out the way. Roman Reigns was tremendous in that main event segment. And that's what I mean, man. You see a guy to where you can clearly see he was not comfortable in his own skin. People were not buying into this character and this gimmick. And for the longest time, guys, nobody has bought into this bullshit with Charlotte Flair and her being that much more better, or more head above shoulders above all of these other fucking female talents, to where I've even mentioned people like Naomi. And thank God for Naomi. She's finally getting this opportunity to showcase what she truly has. And you could see that she's gelling into it. Her pitch and her tone and her mannerisms, to where, like, this is the best she's ever looked for the past 10 years. She's been a babyface. because Vince McMahon or Triple H never wanted to do this. And I'm sure Naomi was somebody to where she probably was in backstage and like, what can I do? What can I do to fix this? And hey, let me maybe go into this heel persona. Charlotte Flair needs to fucking do that now, because Brian, I said this in an episode not too long ago. We can sit here and we can tell this company, hey, it's not working. You got to do something. Well, we now need to point that focus over to Charlotte Flair, because if Charlotte Flair is not the one to step up and look herself in the fucking mirror to say, I think she's got to be at least 37, 38 years old.
Oh, I have no idea.
30s.
Yeah.
Like, she has been in this business for 10 plus years, and you have Tiffany Stratton, who is 25, 26 years old. Bro,
yeah.
She blew you out the fucking water, dog, and it was not even fucking close. And she's been on this main roster for not even a year and a half, maybe 2 years, getting close to 2 years. And bro, she blew you out the fucking water. You've been in this business 10 plus years.
Sorry, I'm sorry to cut you up, but when Charlotte was like trying to mock Tiffy, right, and like the squinky, like what the fuck was that shit? Like, oh my god, it was fucking like,
yeah.
Oh God, it was so bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I've even and that's what I mean, man, about like it's now going to take a actual cleanse with Charlotte Flair, and the only person that can do that is Charlotte Flair herself, because people are like, oh, to push her as a heel, she's better as a heel. I mean, okay, but guys, it's clear as day to where even maybe at her best, she's better in a heel shtick. And I thought the vignette segment that she did last week, I thought was fine. I thought she actually did better. She did more good than bad. I get what you're saying in regards to trying to step on toes and not really being in a certain character. I get all that. But I did thought that she did more good than bad, to where it's in her, but you got to change the shtick and how you're portraying her as supposedly the greatest female wrestler in the modern era. It's fucking bullshit, guys. I've been saying this, and now Brian Thomas has to fucking just speak his heart out about all of this, to where, and I'm sure, Brian, you've also have seen all the bullshit over the past 2 years as well.
But this took the cake, man. I mean, this was just like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Absolutely. No, 100%, man. It's just, and it's doing a detriment to Tiffany Stratton in her championship reign, because, guys, and I get it, the only way we talk about, and I go to this actual feud, right, and I'll kind of just end it with this. We go into this feud, right, and let's face it, just kind of similar to Jey Uso and Gunther, even though for 1 week this past Friday they actually booked Gunther like a diabolical heel. But let's face it, like, just like that certain feud, this feud with Tiffany and Charlotte, it's DOA. And the only thing that can save it is, and I don't even know if it can save it, because of how many people have turned on Charlotte Flair, not just because she's in a heel character, but just the shtick alone. And I don't even know, Brian, if even the match can even save it at WrestleMania at this point. So they're going to go to WrestleMania, they're going to go to Vegas, and they're probably going to put on one of the best performances of the night, of that entire weekend. But guys, it doesn't change the fact that when you put Charlotte Flair to try to carry a storyline or to do, or she can't even do her fucking part, guys. It's clear as day, to where if you put her in a certain role to help progress a feud or a storyline in whatever case scenario, she is so fucking inconsistent. And it was clear as day this past Friday, bro, whether it was Tiffany, whether it was the crowd in Chicago, this woman was fucking flustered, and it showed in many areas.
Yeah.
And this should be evident now, to where Charlotte Flair needs to wake the fuck up and either go to Triple H's office, whoever the fuck she's got to talk to, and say, yep, we gotta change it up. We gotta change something here. Because, Brian, if that doesn't happen, we're still going to be saying the same old shit now for the past, for God knows how long now, that it's not working. This agenda's not working. If she doesn't make that change, man, it's going to be the same fucking song and dance, because this company's not going to change it. They're just not going to. If they would have done, they would have done that, man.
I don't get it. I really don't. Like, I just, it's, I mean, at least until this point, they haven't gone away with, from that with Charlotte Flair. And like,
right. Yeah.
Everybody, it came, whether it was Stone Cold or Roman or Hogan, or at some point they, it was like, all right, we got to go away and to do something else.
Absolutely.
And it's been 10 years of nothing but this. And and in those 10 years, right? And I'll end it with this. Like, in those 10 years, as good as Charlotte Flair can be, whatever, at no point do I think she was ever the best wrestler in the ring.
No.
The best on the mic.
No.
The most athletic.
Nope.
None of those. She was good in all of them. She was never the best in any of those.
No.
No matter who else was in there, what era, what other females were in the locker room, she was not at the top in any of those categories.
No.
But here we are with Charlotte Flair, 15-time world champion. So
Naomi's heel run is blowing Charlotte Flair's heel run out the fucking water. It's not even.
Oh yeah.
Fucking dude, Alexa Bliss, bro. But Alexa Bliss, she's got nothing for WrestleMania. We're gonna take her off of TV. She had one of the best reactions. She had one of the loudest pops at the Royal Rumble, and she was the hottest thing coming out of that pay-per-view. And this company has nothing for her, to where she has so much to fucking offer in regards to her work with Bray Wyatt and how much she has evolved within her within her skills, within her resume. But yet we have nothing for her. But we'll push fucking Charlotte Flair to the fucking moon. Oh, we'll keep doing that shit. We'll keep. It's like the definition of insanity, to where now we're just doing things, Brian, over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's the example of Charlotte Flair's booking, man. It just is.
Yo, watch this match too at Mania, because I'm telling, they're going to be throwing real blows at some point. They're going to be throwing real blows in there. I think so. Yeah,
WWE had to cut out the whole marriage line for that Tiffany Stratton cut. I think on social media, at least that's what I heard. They had to cut out that certain line in the promo segment. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I have to actually go and see if they did. It wouldn't shock me if they did. But guys, I mean, listen, whether it's a work or a shoot, whatever, because that's what people are discussing now, guys. The point of this entire spiel is
Charlotte. That ain't a work from Charlotte. That is not a work, man. Like that is not a character she's playing. That is nope.
No. And the point is, though, is just that this is another prime example, is that we've got to stop with this fucking agenda. We got to stop with this booking, man, because it's not just doing a detriment to Tiffany Stratton and people around her, but it's continuing to be more of a detriment to Charlotte Flair, to where she's not getting any younger. And I get it. She's still in her 30s, man. But like, at some point, like, you got to put your own fucking pride aside. Roman Reigns did that. So many fucking people have done that, to where they had to look themselves in the fucking mirror and said, we got to make a change. Something's got to make a change. It's just that I don't know how, Brian, you sit there to where, you might be getting all of these championships and you're still going to be booked as one of the top female stars. So it's just like, oh, why do I need to change anything if WWE's booking me this way? But the problem is, Charlotte, is that you don't have a connection with anybody. That includes being a face. That includes being a heel. That's why this company has flipped you heel and face more times than the Big Show. That's how fucking bad it is. and that's where we're at, man.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, while she has been in here for a decade, and who knows how much longer she has left, but man, you see the talent coming up in NXT. Like, Charlotte's on the back end of her career, whether she likes it or not, and there's women coming up that they're going to take her, and they should take her spot. And either I don't expect her to step aside necessarily, but those women take it from her, because
damn. I mean, NXT, listen, their women's division, man, is pretty solid. I mean, you got Jada Parker, you got Jordan Grace, you got Sol Ruka, you got Delta, you got Kalani Jordan, you got a lot of female talent that is going to be on that main roster sooner rather than later. So who knows, man? But yeah, man, it's frustrating. So we're gonna move on, man. Those are our thoughts about this face to face. But
let's go, Tiff. God damn it, pull it out at Mania, please.
Shout out to Tiff, and you know what? I'll save it for the roundtable because I do have some. I am very hopeful that in regards to Tiffany Stratton holding on to this title, but I'll save it for the roundtable. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that next week. But we will move on from this discussion. So those are all of our thoughts on this face-to-face segment, man. Just unfortunate because, again, shout out to Tiffany. She actually did really, really well. But Charlotte Flair, man, once again, she cannot hold her end of the bargain. And she has not done that now for 10 plus years. She doesn't like to sell. Her moonsaults is fucking absolute garbage. She never connects on it. She has never connected on it. Freaking, do you want to talk about moonsaults? How about Tiffany Stratton and Neo Skies? The prettiest moonsault in the world? Fuck, talk about a fact. Yeah, that's the prettiest moonsault in the world. So again, anyway, we're going to move on from that. But so those are our thoughts about the face-to-face. Let's move on from this show, man. Let's talk about Rey Fenix, man. Rey Fenix, who just made his debut in WWE. He just had a matchup with Nathan Frazier, who is one half of the NXT Tag Champions. So Rey Fenix, he has his debut. He's on the microphone after the matchup, just saying how proud, how happy he is to be here, and how hard he had to work to get to this point. Pretty similar to what they did with Penta.
I mean, that's the exact same thing. Yeah,
pretty much the exact same thing. So look, here's what I'll try to keep this short and sweet here with Rey Fenix. Listen, you want to show off his in-ring ability, his in-ring skills, boom, there you go. You put him in a really good worker with Nathan Frazier. So really no harm, no foul there. I mean, he's going to be portrayed more as a tag team guy anyway. So if you want to put him in this matchup, I didn't see a problem with it at all. But listen, for Rey Fenix, man, listen, we've seen this a lot of times, man, with people's debuts. They have somewhat of a decent debut, and then moving forward is nothing, right? And we continue to add more and more talent. Malachi Black, guys, is probably going to be here. You see that little smoke and mirrors vignette? That's most likely going to be Malachi Black, probably after WrestleMania. You got Rusev, who just re-signed with WWE. That was confirmed by Fightful not too long ago. You got all of these people from WWE ID that's coming onto the scene that you're developing with all of these, all of these freaking people who are trying to make a name for themselves and get onto the NXT roster, right? You have all these other NXT people that are calling themselves up, people like Trick, people like Ethan Page, and all these people are going to be on the main roster. So my question is, man, is that okay? Rey Fenix is here. He's made a debut. What is he doing? Malachi Black is going to be here. What is he doing? Freaking Rusev. What is he going to be doing, right? It's just like, why is the answer, Brian, always just adding more talent? You already have talent, and they're not being booked properly in this freaking company right now. It just doesn't make sense to where Rey Fenix is going to be here. Okay, it seems like he's going to be stuck with LDF to where he's going to be in a match with Humberto, probably with Garza. They're going to have a couple matches, and then, guys, where are we going from there, man? So listen, much love to Rey Fenix, right? It's good to see him, back on wrestling television. He had to go through a massive freaking some massive shit with Tony Khan and his contract where he couldn't do anything for like 90 some odd days. So much love to him. But again, like, is WWE going to give him the booking that he's looking for, that maybe he wasn't getting over in AEW? And again, we talk about the Lucha Bros with Penta, right? I mean, they're most likely going to get back together. What's going to be the creative booking if you don't have a fucking tag division? There is no tag division because the booking of the tag division sucks. It's not good. So again, much love to Rey Fenix. It was a decent debut. He did his thing in the ring. But so if you want to insert him with LDF, fine. But again, Santos Escobar hasn't done anything. I don't even know if he's injured or not. He's just kind of been side by side with Los Garza over the past several weeks. So, I mean, listen, you might as well look right out the gate, man, insert him into a storyline, make it captivating, make it fun, right? To where we've seen the same thing with Penta. And now you see where Penta's trajectory is. He's in a random ass freaking fatal. He's going to be in a random ass fatal 4-way matchup for the Intercontinental Championship. That's completely just all over the place. And it's not helping Penta because now you just randomly just put Braun Breaker as a face. So guys, until I see trajectory for Rey Fenix, that's just the narrative. And with all of these other talents, like what are you doing with these people when you already have people on the roster that already need good booking right now? It's very odd. But Brian, what are your thoughts about Rey Fenix and making his debut? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a fine debut. I mean, this close to Mania, nothing major is going to happen. And you had mentioned Penta. He's in a triple threat four-way. Who the hell knows? Again, I'm interested to see where he goes after Mania. So with both of those guys, like I really don't think it'll be long before they're rejoined as the Lucha Bros or whatever they're going to be called, whatever that is. So yeah, right now with him, this being coming here this close to Mania, and nothing's really going to get kickstarted, too much before Mania. I just got to wait and see how that plays out, and really what they're doing with Penta and Phoenix. Like I can't imagine them keeping them separate for too long. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we shall soon find out. Let's get into Jade Cargill and Naomi, man. These two ladies, man, are doing a really, really good job. And man, mainly I want to give my flowers to Naomi, man. So she was in a matchup. Naomi was in a matchup with B-Fab. Jade Cargill came out, attacked Naomi on the stage, still had the matchup. Naomi pretty much flat out just squashed B-Fab, if you want to call it that. But she wins the match. She's on the microphone, and I love the pitch and the tone in Naomi's voice. She's like, "Hey, where you at, Jade? I'm still standing. Where you at?" And you could just feel the confidence ooze out of Naomi. She's in her element. She's really been running on all cylinders with this gimmick, with this shtick that she's got working on, that she's got going. Jade Cargill, just within the snap of a finger, shows up from behind her, hits her one of her big boots to the face. To Naomi, she tries to, what does she call her finisher? I think it's Jaded, like the Jaded finisher, pretty much like Beth Phoenix's Glam Slam. That's pretty much what it is. But security comes out, officials come out to break up the two. Frickin' Nick Aldis comes out, makes the matchup official for WrestleMania. Jade Cargill points at the sign. Frickin' Naomi was awesome. She's like on her knees, like screaming and going frickin' nuts. Dude, Naomi's been frickin' tremendous, man. How many times, Brian, have we fucking been on this platform and just said, bro, give fricking Naomi something, just something, not even a title, just something. And you can see that it's so refreshing because Vince McMahon would have never given her anything like this at all. To where for 10 plus years, she's
pretty
been
confident
a face.
to say that. Yep.
I mean, she's for 10 plus years, she has the most up confidence now that she's ever been as a babyface for 10 plus years. Shoot, even Triple H for the longest time, he's now been the head honcho running things as head of creative. Shoot, he never wanted to give Naomi, and I'm sure finally it wouldn't shock me to where Naomi's just like back there. It's like, listen, let me work this gimmick, let me do the shtick, and let me do my thing, man, right? And have her just run on all cylinders, man. And I can just see even the little details, right? It's the little details of Naomi and how she's going about this character. Obviously like the caution attire and all that, which is freaking badass. Listen, and outside of that, there was 1 week, and I still want to be consistent with it. There was 1 week to where, that was the whole confrontation with Naomi and Bianca, who put on a absolutely tremendous segment together. Naomi revealing herself as the one that attacked Jade, and then Jade Cargill came out there. She takes out Naomi and she leaves on her own accord. And I'm thinking, why did you take something that was so good and you just fucking ruined it by having Jade leave within her own accord, to where what do we need to see now? But ever since that moment, they've been, if it wasn't for that week, this feud, Brian, would be damn near flawless if it wasn't for that particular week. So, and that's all I can really say, man. I mean, listen, this has been arguably, outside of, if you want to say John Cena and maybe, I guess, one or two other storyline, I don't know. This is arguably one of the best feuds that we got rocking with this WrestleMania season. So, Brian, what are your thoughts, man, about Naomi and Jade and their match being official for WrestleMania?
Yeah, this really is one of the best ones they got going, and shout out to Naomi. And man, I've switched because I thought I was like, yeah, Jade's gonna come back, she's gonna get that win at Mania. Man, I think Naomi should go over here to continue this feud. And as we've talked about, possible people come in for backup with Naomi. I mean, that's a perfect place to introduce somebody and have it, where Jade, it's not a clean win, somebody comes out to help Naomi. But I think Naomi's got to go over here and you got to continue this feud a little bit.
It's possible, yeah, to where, I mean, obviously, if she does, Jade can't lose clean. I mean, there has to be obviously something in regards to that. So whether it is a lash,
because I just worry about, like, I mean, if Naomi goes out there and does, because if Naomi loses, that's a clean L. Like Jade's going to get the clean win there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you just wonder, like, okay, we had all this, this build up, and who was it? And Jade was out for months, and now it's been like a month, and it's been really good. And then you got the payoff, and boom, it's over. So I'm just hoping they continue it a little bit.
Yeah, because again, who knows when they're going to intertwine Bianca Belair, if they ever even do it at all. So you might as well, like, continue to let Naomi build up her stock as this heel persona, right? So where, obviously if she's going to win, she can't obviously beat Jade Cargill clean, because that's not helping Jade Cargill's booking. So obviously there would have to be some interference, some altercation to where something happens. So yeah, man, it's possible. But again, this is WWE, so I don't even fucking know, Brian. Who the fuck knows? And we'll talk more about it on the roundtable, of course, as well. But yeah, man, just shout out to both of these ladies, but also shout out to Naomi, man. It's just so refreshing to see her just in this role and her just legit gel and thrive into it. And it's just really good to see for two people like me and you, Brian, who truly have had her backs, talking about her on this platform since day one, and it's just really refreshing to see that. So much love to Naomi. Absolutely. Let's get into the U.S. title, man. I guess we got to talk about it since it was another match made official, right? To where LA Knight, I mean, he was in a matchup with Tama Tonka Truck, whatever the fuck you want to call him, Tama Tonga, whatever the fuck. He beats him, beats him 1, 2, 3. Solo Sikoa was out there, tried to cause a distraction, didn't work out, and then LA Knight still picks up the W. Later on in the night, Jacob Fatu took on Braun Strowman in a last man standing match. This was a number one contendership for LA Knight's championship, as Jacob Fatu obviously takes the W. Again, it's Braun Strowman and it's Jacob Fatu. Obviously, this definitely feels maybe last minute, or just put together last minute, because it's pretty clear as day to where when you're 2 weeks away from Mania, Brian, and now you want to put this matchup on the card. I mean, it's better late than never. I get it. Yeah. But for 2 weeks before Mania, and now you just want to throw this matchup on the card, and it's a title. This is your mid-card championship. It's just like, how can we truly be invested in what's going on? So Jacob Fatu will take on LA Knight, and who knows? I'm sure Solo Sikoa is going to play more of a role into this in regards to their whole situation. So yeah, I mean, is it evident, Brian? Do you think LA Knight is losing this championship? I mean, Jacob Fatu, man, he's looking pretty darn good right now with his booking. The WWE is pretty high on him and what he's doing right now. Do you think it's done with LA Knight? What do you think, man?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I guess I still do expect Solo to come out there, interfere somehow. I guess maybe to no avail. Fatu still wins. But yeah, I think they're putting it on him, kind of just turning him full-fledged face. And then Solo and him are going to battle for the U.S. title.
That's what it looks like. Yep. Yeah. It's man. Again, another dude in LA Knight, to where this man freaking, what was it, maybe a year and a half ago, to where, like, he came onto the scene and made a major splash, and he was freaking, and this is not like a Jey Uso type of yeet stick, right? This is a dude who can thrive as a singles performer, who doesn't just rely on right? Who's got every freaking box checked off, even at his age, to where, again, he's not getting any younger, and he's got this championship. So you throw the title off of Shinsuke because you knew that wasn't working out, to throw it back onto LA Knight, to now throw it onto Jacob Fatu. It's this hot potato shit, man, where, like, you keep throwing the title off of one person and onto the other. And cool for Jacob Fatu, right? I mean, listen, we love Jacob Fatu. I don't understand why where you haven't even truly established him yet as a heel. And now you want to put him in a freaking match, a Mania match with Solo. And guys, I'm going to be, or maybe not a Mania match, but a future matchup with Solo. So we're guys, like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Like, listen, Jacob Fatu, as much as I like Jacob Fatu, I truly do. I can give two shits about a matchup against Solo. I really could care less. Like, you could put that on a Saturday night's main event and I would be fine with it. Like, honestly, listen, that's no shade to Solo. It's really not. But when we talk about WrestleMania season, right? I mean, you could have been building this dude up towards Roman Reigns as a diabolical heel, and you could have had Roman and Jacob Fatu in just a one-on-one feud at WrestleMania, dude. And now you put Roman Reigns in this random-ass fucking triple threat that's also in the fucking main event, which is also just still trying to comprehend it. But yeah, man, it's unfortunate to where it's just like, you know, you're wanting to book Jacob Fatu and book him as a beast, but why turn him face to where you haven't established him yet at all? It's just weird. And again, listen, Solo Sikoa, again, a guy that has a lot to offer, right? But let's face it, man, like if Solo as the heel going up against Fatu, I mean, maybe it's smart enough, right? Because people love Jacob Fatu more than they would interact with Solo. I get it. Yeah. But when we're getting this close to WrestleMania, like, this is the best we have for Jacob Fatu. It's like, come on, man. I don't know. You know, like when we were thinking WrestleMania, did we really, like, we were thinking, oh, Roman Reigns and Fatu and maybe something else that's going to conclude the bloodline story, right? We didn't think that Jacob Fatu was just going to get randomly thrown into a United States title match against LA Knight, and he has this side beef with Solo. That's what Jacob Fatu was doing. I don't know, man. It's just very weird. But I
do want to give a shout out to KO, man.
Yes,
Kevin Owens.
Yeah, Kevin Owens. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, because again, I said this was the match I was, you know, hasn't been much to look forward to. I thought this was going to steal the show, and man, that really sucks. Yeah. But shout out to KO, man, and all this year, you know, really, I look at a guy like KO where maybe he's not going to be in the best storyline or he's not the top star.
Right.
This year, there has been nobody more consistent in feuds and storylines at the top than Kevin Owens. And man, it sucks he gets injured right now. But
yeah,
you know, hopefully you recover, and we'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, no, a very reliable talent. A guy that has really, whatever situation you want to put him into, where you want him to be.
I love guys like that too, man. Like,
that can truly do it. That can truly mesh a lot of pieces together in regards to the shtick that they're getting, right? If you want to make KO, I guess, somewhat of a face. I mean, listen, I love more heelish KO than freaking face KO.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
But if you need to have him pull the face shtick to where you want to make him more kind of also in a funny type of comedic way, he could pull that off to where he is actually legit, sometimes can be really funny. And like, he's just a very versatile type of talent, and that doesn't go unnoticed. So much love to Kevin Owens. Again, we talk about neck injuries, man. It's no joke in wrestling. I mean, you can you can tell Big E that, you can tell Edge, Adam Copeland, you can tell Saraya, you can tell Daniel Bryan. It's no fucking joke, man. It really isn't. And we don't know when we're going to see Kevin Owens again. It may not be for a very long time. Who knows? But like you said, Brian, much love to Kevin Owens, you know, again, and a guy that has really came into his own with this new heel persona that he was rocking with for a majority of 2024 and going into 2025, was really just in his element. And even though the feud with Cody Rhodes wasn't, you know, perfect, it was very repetitive and whatnot, but for what Kevin Owens was doing to evolve his character with social media, with everything, man, he was, like you said, very, very consistent. And a dude that, you know, should definitely deserves his flowers for sure. Mm-hmm. So much love to Kevin Owens, and we'll see when we'll see him again in the near future. Again, it may not be for a while, but we'll see, as I'm sure we'll be giving updates on his condition, you know, past WrestleMania and beyond. So, but yes, let's get into this main event, man. So we start off the night with CM Punk, Phil Brooks himself, Chicago's own CM Punk, Phil Brooks himself, as he's out there kind of piggybacking off of last week and how emotional he was to, talking about how, him being now in the main event of WrestleMania, he's thanking the people in Chicago. He's thanking the fans. He's thanking April, his lovely wife, AJ, and his dog, Larry, and everybody. So being very sympathetic, very just having a moment with the fans and the audience to try to really kind of hype up the crowd. He also grabbed the camera. He grabbed the freaking digital camera. He's like, hey, Chicago. He's like, listen, people say that, the overseas crowds are louder, but hey, freaking, prove them wrong, Chicago. He's got the freaking camera and everything. So, they're letting CM Punk just rock out and do his freaking thing. So he's out there. He says a few words. And Paul Heyman comes out. He's like, sorry, I'm arrived fashionably late. And, talking about CM Punk and going through their history and getting to the main event, talking about how he hasn't deserved it. I hate that fucking word, by the way, deserved it. He's earned that main event slot at WrestleMania. But Paul Heyman has a question for Punk. He's like, tell me what, or he would need to do me another favor. He's like, tell me what is the favor that I owe you, right? And Punk is like, well, why don't we wait for your tribal chief to show up tonight, and then I will tell him what this favor is, as well as to you. And that's when Punk walks off. And we carry this throughout the rest of the night, where Paul Heyman is very just
good.
on edge. And I said this about Dynamite, man, and I'm going to get to that later. But backstage, you had frickin' Paul Heyman. It was like, my tribal chief, you've arrived, and it was frickin' Seth Rollins that came out from one of the vehicles that arrived to the arena. And Seth Rollins like, listen, I need to know what this favor is going to be. I'm going to be there live in person to see what this favor is going to be. He's got his arm wrapped around him and shit. So, and they keep telling that throughout this entire night. And then
I remember what Heyman said too, like when you see the truck in the background, like before it pulls up, and he's like, whatever it is, yes, the answer is yes. I'm going to do whatever it is, before he thinks it's Roman pulling up. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So Paul Heyman is fucking great, man. Again, he can turn shit. This dude can legit guys turn shit into fucking gold. It's not even funny, man. Like, honestly. But we get to later on in the night to where you have Roman Reigns, you got Paul Heyman out there. They keep doing the freaking Roman Reigns. Freaking Chicago wanted to do that shit now. I guess we carry that on into the States now. I guess freaking I don't know.
I guess everybody's going to be getting that. Whatever the top star is. I guess I don't know.
I guess it's usually for like Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns. They did it for Tony Storm for an AEW event. I think they did it for like Australia. Tony Storm, right? So you had Roman, you got Paul Heyman in the ring. Seth Rollins comes out and interrupts. He says a few words to Roman, and he wants to know what this favor is, in regards to, hey, I have a front row seat. And he backs up. I guess there's only one thing we got left to do, or one thing we got to do. He backs away. That's when Punk's music hit. He comes out, and Punk lays out the favor. And the favor is that CM Punk is going to walk down the ramp to WrestleMania in the main event alongside Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is going to be in the corner of his best friend, CM Punk, in the main event of WrestleMania. And, even the crowd for a second was like, wait, that's the favor? Like, you could tell Chicago crowd, like some people even in that crowd was like, wait a minute, that's the favor? Like, what are we doing here? But guys, Roman Reigns was fucking great. He starts laughing, which I love when Roman Reigns gets into this element. He's like, that's the favor? He's like, wise man, let this fool down easy for me, right? He's like, just let him down easy. And Paul Heyman just starts getting emotional. Like, he really starts getting emotional. And this Roman Reigns was also great too. He slowly turns to Paul Heyman and he's like, wise man, are you crying? He's got like tears. Like, are you crying? It's like what was that movie? I forget them. It was like a baseball movie. There's
Field of Dreams, or not Field of Dreams.
No, not Field of Dreams.
A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own, right? There's no crying in baseball. Are you crying? Like, that's what it reminded me of. I fucking loved it. Roman Reigns was on it freaking this past Friday, man. He's like, you better wipe off them tears and tell him no. And like Punk's got this smirk on his face because Paul Heyman, or he knows that Paul Heyman can't say no to Roman Reigns, right? And then freaking Paul Heyman's trying to wipe away his tears, like, my tribal chief, I can't do that. I can't do that. He got a little bit of a pop from the Chicago crowd. And that's when Roman Reigns, like his expression just changes. He's like, whoa, like this is like, it's really settling in. Like this is really getting serious. He went from like kind of delusional to where he's laughing. He's like, wait, really? This can't be the favor, right? Is this a joke, really? To where now it's starting to like really settle in, like, oh shit, like you're being for real. It's like, listen, he's like, I made you relevant, and this is what you're gonna do to me. You're gonna turn your back on me and go alongside him, at least speaking hypothetically, right? But talking about how, I made you or whatever. And and Seth Rollins is laughing, by the way, this entire time in the corner or whatever. But Roman then starts to slowly back Paul Heyman into a corner, into the turnbuckles. And then that's when Punk attacks him from behind, hits the GTS. Roman sold the fuck out of it. As soon as he freaking did it, he was out. Roman was just fucking on it, man. He really, truly was. Every aspect, he was on it. And then freaking Seth Rollins was there in the ring. Freaking Punk quickly turns his head over to Seth. Seth wants no business of it, to where I guess he's playing more of the heel, to where he slowly backs out of the ring and walks off. And then the show goes off the air. And Paul Heyman's like, no. He's like, I broke up with you, but I didn't want to see you get run over by a truck. It's like one of those freaking ending relationships to where, listen, I wanted you to mean well, but I didn't want you to freaking die in a freaking car crash or get eat by a freaking hyena, like, because Roman Reigns is like laying dead, like, so. And that's how the show goes off the air, as Punk stands tall. Freaking Paul Heyman is in distraught. Seth Rollins walks away. You got the ending credits because, Triple H needs to remind you that he booked the show along with other executives in suits and ties, because we're just doing that shit now. And that's the show, man. I mean, look, here's what I'll say. I'll make this short. Look, this was probably one of the better segments of this whole triple threat feud, and I'll give it that credit. And I will give credit to how this show overall was structured and how it was formatted, right? We talk about shows like I just mentioned with AEW, to where you take something at the start of the show and you slowly tell that story towards the end of the show, and you're giving people a reason to watch for 3+ fucking hours. Because let's face it, 3 hours of SmackDown, ever since it's been 3 hours on the USA Network, has been a drag. After almost 2 hours, like, I almost sometimes, Brian, I fall asleep because, like, I can't stay awake because this show is so much of a drag. It's just that bad. But for 1 week, man, this show flowed very well, and it was actually watchable for once. And it all had to tie into Paul Heyman in this favor with Roman and Seth and everybody else and CM Punk. So, hey, massive golf clap, man. Overall, this show was actually watchable, and it actually flowed very well. So I got to give credit where credit is due, man. So, and as far as this segment itself is concerned, right, Seth Rollins, I kind of want to point the finger more at him real quick, because there's got to be more intel for Seth Rollins in all of this, right? So where, again, Seth Rollins does come off, again, kind of the third wheel in all of this. It started off as just Punk and Seth and all the animosity, and they tried to rush all this animosity with Punk and with Roman Reigns in this favor. So where now everything is switched over to Punk and Roman, and now Seth also feels like the outsider now. So I don't know, Brian, if they do something to where maybe Punk, you're going to see once again Roman and Seth maybe team up. And because, again, if Punk is going to actually be the heel against or working with Paul Heyman, and you got Roman Reigns and maybe Seth working together to where, or who knows, maybe Seth has some type of something maybe involving with Paul Heyman as well, or The Rock, or something that maybe we don't know. And again, I know that's also outside business with Cena and Cody, but I don't know, man. I think that Seth Rollins is going to play a bigger part in this triple threat that I think that we are expecting him to be. So where, again, all of the attention now is just on Punk and Roman. So where does that lie, Seth? So you think because Seth Rollins can't just be a part of this triple threat and there's nothing leading with him in regards to his trajectory and what he's going to do after this, right? So there's going to have to be something for Seth for all of this to, I guess, to make sense and to all come into full circle of how he's going to intertwine with Roman, and maybe teaming up with Roman in the near future, and what he does. I mean, what else can you do now with CM Punk, right? Which is why I mentioned maybe stuff with Paul Heyman and maybe The Rock, if depending on what The Rock is going to do with Cena involved. So I don't know. These are all just things that I'm spitballing off the top of my head. But Brian, just overall, man, your thoughts on this main event segment with Roman, Punk, and Paul Heyman pretty much dumping Roman Reigns as tribal chief. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I did like the segment. It was awesome. I mean, as I expected, and as I've been saying for a couple of weeks, I mean, the glue that brought all that together was Heyman. I mean, that's
absolutely,
that's what it is. So again, yeah, I mean, we know, Rollins will play some kind of part. Who knows how this match is gonna, I have my theories or whatever, but I mean, that whole thing, Punk, Roman, and Heyman, like, we talk about having, the two separate stories, right? The Seth and Roman story, actually 3 stories: the Seth and Roman, the Seth and Punk, and then the Punk and Roman. That's the best one, is the Roman and Punk and Heyman, and that is the one that should have just been a standalone whatever. But this is what it is, and that's what I expected the whole time. And as it got closer, it couldn't be anything else but Paul Heyman. So I mean, yeah, he'll come down with in Punk's corner, and obviously that's going to play a role, and we'll see how it turns out. But I can't go back on it. It still would have been better if it was just separate.
Yeah, no, this still doesn't justify it being in the main event at all.
Yeah.
It really doesn't at all. Again, I still stand by that, to where it's still a random triple threat with nothing on the line and all separate feuds and whatnot. But look, at least if you are going to do this triple threat for this 1 week, this was one of their best segments that they have put on with all 3 of them combined. And I don't think it's even close. And again, like you said, it all rests on Paul Heyman and how he made this work for 3+ hours, man. Like, seriously, the dude is just so fucking good, man. Seriously. And listen, we'll see where this goes. Again, I'm still not, I guess, justified of this being in the main event of WrestleMania, but this is what we're doing. If that's how you're going to structure the show, then I'll sit back and shut up and I'll freaking praise it, because it was good.
Yeah.
It was good, man. I mean, majority of the show, outside of course, Charlotte and everything we mentioned with her, overall, man, this was a decent show, at least better than most. James, you thought SmackDown was good this past Friday? Yes, I did. Yeah, because it actually was a good show. So, and we'll see where it goes in regards to, I mean, listen, man, we got 2 more weeks left. It's not a whole lot of time now to build up WrestleMania. WrestleMania is pretty much here at this point. So how they go about business for the next 2 weeks, time will...
What do you think if you think Orton is out of Mania, or do you think they're going to have a Orton and what's the GM?
Nick Aldis?
Do you think they're going to do that just because they got to throw something in there, or
for Orton, I think he will participate in Mania, and if that's the case, then that would be something that you could do to involve Nick Aldis, because he has RKO'd Nick Aldis a lot. he's been like, I remember like in backstage, there was like some backstage segments to where like Nick Aldis, he was RKO'd once, like a while back, and like Orton paid the fine. He's like, wait, this isn't 5,000, this is like 10,000. Oh, that's for next time. And he's like, he paid double because he knew he probably was going to do it again in the future. So I thought that was kind of funny. I guess again, if it's something that I guess is something that's no harm, no foul, to where you want to insert Randy Orton in WrestleMania to have a sort of a WrestleMania type of moment with Nick Aldis. I mean, shoot, I've been wanting Nick Aldis to go up against Kevin Owens in a WrestleMania freaking matchup, because you have a guy that's the twisted, demented heel going up against the authority figure. I thought that would have been really cool. So, I mean, if you can maybe make it make sense to where, listen, I mean, it's Randy Orton. You would think that they're going to want to have him be a part of WrestleMania some way, somehow. So it's possible. I mean, Nick Aldis is an option, because, I mean, outside of that, I mean, what other options do you have? You're going to throw somebody on the main roster.
That's why I say, like, it can't be like somebody, you're not going to like just throw somebody in where you're actually another performer to like start
Right.
a storyline. At this point, it's just got to be like a one-off match, like
A one-off, yeah. It would have to be. Absolutely. So it could be Nick Aldis. I mean, Nick Aldis is the right character and person for that if you tell it properly, if they do it properly. So we'll see, and I'm sure we'll also talk about that on the roundtable as well. But yeah, man, from start, maybe not from all the way to start to finish. I'll slow my roll. But for majority of the show, man, this show flowed very well. This, I'm not going to say it was great, but for 3 hours, it was not a drag. It was watchable, and it flowed very well. That's as honest and as nicely as I can put it. So overall, little golf clap. That's what you get for this week. So that is going to do it, guys, for this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was a lot to talk about from AEW, a little bit of Dynasty and what's to come. Again, we have not watched the show. We have no idea what's going on with the show. Of course, a little bit about NXT thrown in there. And, of course, SmackDown. This was pretty much your full SmackDown review show. Make sure you guys stay tuned for our next coming episode this week. We got AEW Dynasty to talk about some takeaways from the show, as well as takeaways from Monday Night Raw. What was it? Freaking Lyra and Bailey. You got a freaking title match there with the freaking women's IC title. El Grande Americano is going to be in a freaking matchup if you're into that shit. Not Chad Gable, right? Because he's sick. He's got the doctor's note, so it's definitely not Chad Gable, right? So you got Grande Americano. I'm sure he's Seth Rollins. I think was advertised for the show, maybe to speak upon this favor, I guess, to build up the triple threat match. Most likely, it's just going to be a Seth Rollins promo for the most part. And a few other things, maybe off the top of my head, maybe some more stuff. Hopefully, I guess maybe to finally confirm this IC title matchup. You would think they're going to throw that on the WrestleMania card, but time will only tell. We'll talk all about it this coming week, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that as well. You see the banner down below. Make sure you guys follow us on social media. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram and TikTok. That is ruthless_talk. We are available. Our podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, like I said last time, do not be fucking weird and watch these episodes and not freaking hit that subscribe button. You're fucking weird if you don't do that shit. So make sure that you subscribe and also stay notified so that way you don't miss a single episode published out. We got the roundtable coming up. We got WrestleMania Nights 1 and 2 to talk about later on this month, AEW Dynasty, and a whole bunch of other stuff to come. Brian, final thoughts, man, before we end the show.
Yeah, it was a pretty good show this week. And 6 days away from the roundtable, man. So looking forward to that. Yep. Yes,
absolutely. That's going to be a grand time, and make sure you guys stay tuned for our WrestleMania roundtable. We will talk about the match card, some of our favorite WrestleMania matches. We'll talk about that. I guess you could say that'll be the cold open of our roundtable event. And of course, many more stuff to come in that roundtable. So if you guys are interested, man, stay notified for when that episode is published out. And that is going to do it for today's episode, everybody. My name is James Porcelli.
I'm Brian Thomas.
Until next time, there will be a next time. Your boys are starting off saying salute.
Peace out.
And take care, everybody. Top guys, we are out.